Hi, welcome back, and we're ready to start the piecing for Gentry, which is on page 5. So now that you have all your fabrics cut, the first thing that we're going to be doing is making half square triangles. And so half square triangle A is going to be using fabric 8 and 11. And the result is looking like this. And then half square triangle B is using fabrics 10 and 11. And of course, we're going to be cutting those down to 2.5 inches, which we've done many times now. The only thing that you want to do is when you're pressing these, you want to be pressing one of them. Usually we always press just to the dark. So, you know, I would automatically just be pressing to the darker fabric. But one of them you want to be pressing, like they tell you, one of them press to fabric 11, and then on B, press to fabric 10. And the reason is that then when you sew these together, they will nest, okay? So they will nest together. So it doesn't really matter which one you press. If you forget, I actually forgot when I was doing these for the demo, so I had them both pressed that way. I forgot to do it. So they don't really love to be repressed, but you can do it. So if you forget, just press one the other way. You'll remember right when you go to sew them. That way they'll be nesting, and then they'll match very nicely. Okay, so you're going to be sewing them like that. So that way they'll nest together. And then when you're going to press them, the seam one way or the other, I actually pressed it this way so that I could see that intersection right here, because you're going to be sewing this to your flying geese, which I'll show you in a minute. But that way, if I pressed it this way, I wouldn't be able to see the intersection. Well, I guess you can see it. Okay, I'm wrong. It's harder to see, but I could see it better this way. So I pressed it that way so I could see the intersection easily when I'm sewing it to the flying geese. So you're going to make your half square triangles, cut them down to 2.5 inches, and then you're going to sew them together with they have it so that the pink one is on the right and the teal one is on the left. I don't know that it matters a lot, but that's how they have it set up. Okay, so that's your half square triangle, and then you're going to be making your flying geese with your fabric 1 and 11 with fabric 11 as your base, and then that's the result. And you're going to be squaring up to 2.5 by 4.5, and then you're going to be sewing those together so that it looks like that. Okay, and then I would again just have this put together like this so that I could see that intersection when I'm sewing it. And then when I'm pressing this, I would press it towards the flying geese because there's no seams there. So I would press that there, and it will press down pretty flat. Okay, so that's that one piece here. And if you're looking at your picture, that's that block right here, and it's this block right here. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to be
How many of those do you make, Marilyn?
You're going to be making 20 of them. No, you're not going to be making 20. You're only going to be making 4. But didn't 20 seem like a lot? Now 4 doesn't seem like anything. I made it just sound really good, 4. Okay, so you're going to be making 4 of those. Okay, now we're going to be doing a log cabin. And how many do you make of those?
I'm
Probably
guessing 4.
4, not 20. So this seems really easy. So you're going to be taking your fabric 1 square, and you're going to be adding your fabrics 4 and 8. And it's really easy to determine what order they go in because they're cut to size. So the first thing you're going to be doing is adding your fabric 4. And as you add that, you're going to be sewing to the piece that you just added on. Press it open, or press it over, not open. Press it over and then add the next piece. So I have that section. And then once I have that, this is a completed one, and then I would add that piece here, and then press it to the piece that I just added, and then add that final piece there. And then they should finish at 4.5, because everything that we're doing, as you know, you should have figured out by now, everything is at 4.5 inches. Yes, you should be saying that to yourself. Oh yeah, it is, right? All of these pieces are 4.5 inches so that they all go together. Ooh, I know. Okay, and then the very last thing that we have in the middle is a square in a square that we've done a few times now. So you're going to be taking your 3 3/8 inch fabric 9 square in your fabric 2 triangles and making your square in a square that we've done a few times. And so there's your finished square in a square. And then we'll put the block together. So we have your square in a square with this in the middle. And the thing that you do have to match is that seam right there with that intersection. And I would pin those so that they match up, because you want them to match right there so that they're lined up and not kind of cockeyed. And then you have this block here that's turned this way here. Okay, so you'll have that, and that's how your block goes together. So it's a pretty easy block, pretty straightforward. And then of course they'll be finishing at 12.5 inches raw, 12-inch finished. So that's our Gentry block, and then we'll be moving on to our next block.